Hey, it's Sonia here checking in. So I came across this conversation with one of the top 1% entrepreneur with a monk, a Chinese monk. I think he's quite famous on the internet. And the podcaster just asked the monk, "Are you happy now?" And the monk replied, "I wasn't looking for happiness. I was looking for peace. Because with the happiness, there will be the other side of happiness, which is unhappiness." So the answer that he replied really brings me to a lot of reflections of my own life. I think I was always someone who's unplanning, go with the flow with her life, only going after freedom, stability, comfort, go with the flow type of lifestyle. My life's plan changed dramatically after 2020. I think it is the case for a lot of us. The meaning of searching for peace will look very different from each one of us. I think most of all, that sense of peace should come from knowing that we did our best in the end of the day, knowing that we try all we can to go after what we want, knowing that we are not wasting our sense of talent and gift as a human being. That peace can come from a lot of places. But I think that peace ultimately comes from honesty, right? When you can face yourself with that honesty, knowing that you did your best, there's really nothing should be bothering you in the end of the day. Peace on the spiritual level, that should be coming from knowing that we did our best to explore all our possibility in this lifetime. And I think second, the peace should be coming from that you have structure enough of security. I think after 2020, things changed dramatically for all of us, knowing that the unexpected could happen is now a brutal reality for all of us. The challenge of AI entering the job market, there's a lot of uncertainty. So basically, to secure that safety blanket of peace itself could be pretty daunting. The stability also is so essential, which is to live a life of freedom. What that means to me in the past 10 years was being able to work for myself, control my own time. As the time goes by, I hit the target. That's when those unsettling feelings hit me. I think it's also the timeline of my life to remind me that it is time to move on. In my desperate attempt to escape that dark cloud that was surrounding me, I just choose to get going, go do something creatively after work. Because I'm always a fan of creativity. I like to stay curious, learn about new things, and trying new things. So I always enjoy watching YouTube. That's why I choose to do YouTube on a weekly schedule. In the beginning of 2025, and after doing that, I suddenly just pick up songwriting again. My mental condition got improved ever since I put all my anxiety into action of doing things instead of constantly questioning, worrying about what am I doing with my life? And I think with actions, it really saves you from a lot of empty infights with yourself mentally. And in reality, you are actually doing something, trying something, learning something, getting better at something. And even though at this point, after 1 year, I am only in the beginning of getting seriously about building my music catalog. What it's about, I'm about to release my 4th single after I get back to music last year. But what it helped me in real life is that my mind was being occupied by what I should do next. What would I want to do next? So there's no empty spaces for negativity, depressed feelings, overthinking of nothing. Now my life is leading with certain kind of goals in mind. So that's where the peace I have right now came from. My peace used to be coming from knowing that I'm working for myself. And that's about it. The rest of the thing, I just go with the flow. And that didn't lead me to a good place in life. I have to be honest. I used to think that was freedom. But it was after 2020 I realized it wasn't freedom. It was me abusing the freedom that I work hard for. So I think 2020 really taught me a lot by suffering the 4 years periods of trying to build waffle business. There were many times I came to a point where I'm not sure if I'm going to make it this time. In the end of my rope, I decided I'm going to see it through. And I really didn't anticipate the depressing episodes that happen around 2024 is when my income slowly got back on track. I was being able to save and things become stable. And that's when that dark question hit me. I talked about many times in the previous conversation is where I asked myself, what's the point of me being here? And that was the moment I realized I must make some changes right now. Otherwise, I don't know how to carry on. So I think most of the source of my peace, of knowing that I did my best, they almost always came from suffering from my own not doing, stupidity. When the amount of pain was stacking up way up high, that's when I have to move. And that's when I decided to do the hard things, to get active. That's when I always get saved. And I don't know, I'm not sure, as I always did, trying this new path of population music and putting out my songwriting services online. I don't know if there's a promising future for me, but like I said, I'm willing to bet on myself because music was my best friend growing up. So I believe I have stacked up a lot of good melodies in me that I'm being able to share. I think trying, I think following your instinct, trying new things, challenge yourself, facing your own doubts about your own ability is all part of reaching that sense of peace in life. I think there are very few people think that being super successful is the thing that they're aiming for life. I think most of us, all we really want, really, honestly, is just to being able to live a life of freedom and have some interesting passion habits that we can enjoy after work, and that's it. And I think that's okay. So whatever your sense of peace meant to you, I think as long as you know that you are doing something every single day in the pursuit of that, I think you can almost say you are in a pretty fair, balanced fighting for that peace. You know, with a lot of success, I think there comes a lot of responsibilities. And I think oftentimes when we see on YouTube where a lot of top 1% entrepreneurs sharing their philosophy in life, their work ethic, their daily schedule, we feel disconnected. Not necessarily far behind them, but I think what we get mostly is that we don't want that much, but we want reasonable amounts of challenges and success in our own definition of freedom, creativity, entrepreneurship, and all that good things that we should be ambitions about in life. You know, I think eventually what it comes down to, freedom, peace, and creativity. How do you really combine them into your daily routine? Is if you're going after business and profits, there's a lot of expanding your little business, your organization, and to manage people, to manage your business. That has less to do with freedom, creativity. But it's definitely involves something else that we also like to have, which is sovereignty. Being your own boss. Taking the wheels of your own operations. But like I said, with more success comes with more responsibility. But what I want is not success. What I want is freedom, creativity, and that sense of peace, knowing that I am going after something I love, knowing that I am having a conversation with something that I love. So I think you need to know yourself and know your why before you can really get to what peace meant to you. And I think that kind of clarity and wisdom often needs to come from a lot of failures, a lot of bad choices that you made in life. So you can then come to realize, what do you really want in life? You know, nothing comes easily in life, even to find a decent sense of clarity of what types of life do you want to be living in every single day. By the hours, what do you want to be doing in your working hours? You know, at this point, I really don't feel negative about doing the labor work of making waffles for the customer every day and using my free time to build on the creative career that I want in the future, even though I don't have 100% clarity of where to go next. But as I keep moving forward, still learning all sort of knowledge along this path, I know I'm going to get somewhere. I don't know where that is, but at least now I have the peace of mind of not struggling, asking myself dark questions because I was busy building something. And with that being said, I think go explore what peace meant for you. And I think live accordingly following that goal. A peaceful life is a good life.